Hey, welcome back, All American Press peeps. It's Bubba here again. And today we're going to be at City Hall attending a meeting. They're going to be discussing water and some different issues. So I'm going to let you guys decide on what happens in this video. I do some interviews with some citizens from the urban areas of Nueces County. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the video, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, good afternoon. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Corpus Christi Aquifer Storage and Recovery Conservation District meeting, and please note that it's 2:01. We're just going to go through roll call here as the first part of our agenda. I'll just read the names and please stay as present. Jeff Edmonds. Present. Ryan Stuparchek. Present. Nick Winkleman. Here. Bill Mahaffey. Here. And I'm Dan McKinney. Here. All right, next order of business is public comment. And so members of the audience are provided an opportunity to address the district. When addressing the district, please give your name, your city and your county, and your public comment within the allowed 3 minutes. Please be advised that the Open Meetings Act prohibits the board members from responding to or discussing any of the comments at length. And also, this will be the only time to offer any public comment or feedback on any items. So if you have seen or want to speak to something else on the agenda down 3, 4, 5, that won't be permitted. Now is the time to offer that comment. So, and with that, I have 10 people signed up here, and so that just come up to the podium and you'll have your 3 minutes. The first speaker is Tammy Sue Arnold, and then I have Scott Barraza, and then Kelly Harlan as the third speaker. So, Tammy, Mrs. Arnold, if you want to step up to the podium.
Tommy Sewell, born in Nueces County. I'm a widow on a fixed income, with children and grandchildren that are direct descendants of the Brunswick clan that settled here in 1860 without city overreach. This is an annexation toy. You're being told to annex only the rural properties acquired by the city of Corpus Christi so they can, or Eric can too, and Carolyn Vaughn, pump unlimited and unrestricted amounts of water, and there's nothing these river people can do about it. All for the sole purpose of taking from us. The city grabbed the eastern wellfield properties through mostly foreclosure. The western wellfield was some dark of night purchase announced at the same time the city council announced their massive water well plans. I'm not seeing any transparency here. How many other under the table rural properties will be snatched up by the city council and you're told to annex? Aquifers and water tables aren't governed by meets and bounds descriptions. Excessive pumping depletes water from all around and beyond property lines. Picture a bowl of water. This is just one of your wells. This is a rural water well. Now pump water down pump that water down from your plethora of big city water wells and see which water wells dry up first. You're pulling water from every rural water well in the area. Plus, as you blatantly overpump our rural water, you greatly increase the chances of destroying our aquifers that will lower the water table, dry up our water wells, reduce surface water, cause land subsidence, deteriorate water quality, and destroy our rural livelihood through big city greed. Just like Corpus Christi drained the lake. It's deja vu all over again. It's absolute power because the affected rural residents have no vote. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Try John 3:16 instead. Your annexation attempt under orders from the very city council that appointed you. Not only is this a conflict of interest, it's a blatant overreach by both you and the city council that undermines the will of the Nueces County rural residents and the local control that state law was designed to preserve. Don't tread on our rural water resources. Stay in your city limits lane. Thank you.
Scott Barraza.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Barraza, Nueces County, and I strongly oppose the proposed annexation by the Corpus Christi Aquifer Storage and Recovery Conservation District. The CCASRC was created by the legislature for one limited purpose, and that was to build and operate a municipal storage, aquifer storage and recovery project. It was never meant to become a regional regulator or a tool for the city of Corpus Christi to expand its authority outside the city limits. The city owns the well fields, but all of them are outside the city limits. And the district entirely is made up of city employees, as you all are well aware, mostly for Corpus Christi Water. That's not independent management, that's city control under another name. And I'm kind of confused here. I look around and see a lot of CCW shirts on, and name on tablet or pads and stuff, but I thought we were at the ASCRD meeting here. It's supposed to be an independent agency, but the more I look around, it kind of feels like it's a city department, treated like a city department, not an independent governmental entity like it should be. And instead of facing outside oversight from the new Nueces County Groundwater Conservation District, the city is trying to annex its way around accountability. It wants to be both the operator and the regulator, which is kind of odd because the city owns it. If the city wants to regulate it, they have the power to. You don't have to annex it for regulation. The city can just learn to control what they pump and do it to protect, preserve, and conserve. It's a clear conflict of interest and misuse of legislative intent. I urge you to reject this annexation and let the Nueces County Groundwater Conservation District, a truly local and representative body, manage the groundwater for all of us. Please do not annex this as land. Thank you.
Kelly Harden. The next speaker is Trey Kramer.
Hello, my name is Kelly Harlan, and I'm from Bishop, Texas. I'm one of the petitioners for the Nueces Groundwater Conservation District, a lawful landowner-led effort filed with TCEQ before this annexation proposal ever surfaced. What this board is doing today is not conservation, it's consolidation of power. The city of Corpus Christi already owns and operates these wells, and every person on this board is a city employee, appointed by the city council, and now you are preparing to vote to expand your own jurisdiction into land outside the city limits. It's a blatant conflict of interest. Under Texas Local Government Code 171004, any public officer with a substantial interest in an entity, and that includes your employer, may not participate in or vote on a matter involving that entity. Doing so can void that action, expose you to civil penalties, and make that decision unenforceable. This is not theoretical. The Attorney General has ruled repeatedly that self-regulation violates the independence required for our groundwater district. The law requires independent boards precisely to prevent situations like this where city employees use a district to rubber stamp city water projects. You're not protecting the groundwater, you're protecting City Hall. And if you proceed with this annexation, you're creating a record of knowing participation in a conflict of interest, one that may be later scrutinized by state authorities or a court of law. It's not a real vote if voting no means contradicting your employer. I want to make that clear. The citizens of Nueces County have followed the law. We filed a proper petition for a district accountable to the people, not the city. This annexation attempt is a political maneuver meant to block that lawful process. So I urge you, step back, read the statute, and understand that this vote is not harmless. It is a decision that can carry legal consequences for every member that supports it. Do not risk your credibility your positions or your personal liability to expand the city's control over land and water that does not belong to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Trey Cranford?
Good afternoon, my name is Trey Cranford, I live outside the city. I'm here to strongly object to the proposed annexation of the city of Corpus Christi's groundwater wells by the CCARSD. The intent of legislation that created the ASR district was very clear: to store excess surface water for future use, not to regulate groundwater. The ASR was designed as a storage and recovery tool, not a regulatory agency. What the city and the CCASRCD are attempting to do now directly contradicts that purpose. By moving to annex the city's groundwater wells, the district is taking a step far beyond its statutory authority. This action represents a land and water rights grab, disguised as a technical boundary adjustment. But make no mistake, it's an expansion of control, not storage capacity. If this annexation is allowed to proceed, it will set a dangerous statewide precedent. Other cities or ASR districts across Texas could follow the same path, using ASR authority to reach into groundwater management, an area clearly reserved for local groundwater conservation districts under Texas law. This would erode private property rights, undermine local governance, and blur the careful balance the legislature created between surface water and groundwater regulation. Texans have long defended the principle that groundwater belongs to the landowner. The ASR statute was never intended to override that. The city's attempt to annex wells through CCARSCD undermines not only local water management, but also public trust in how our state's water laws are applied. We must not allow this overreach to stand. I urge this body and our state leaders to support a temporary restraining order and a full legislative review of the action before any annexation is finalized. Let's be clear, this is not about opposing water conservation, it's about upholding the law, protecting private property rights, and ensuring the SR district operates within the boundaries the legislature intended. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your commitment to preserving the integrity of Texas water law. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Chris Cuellar.
Good afternoon. Chris Cuellar, Nueces County resident. I don't have anything prepared, so I'm speaking from my heart and my gratitude. Unfortunately, over 20 years that this board has, this TCASRB was created, it has been created for the specific needs to create an aquifer storage, to put water in for the purpose of recovering those water streams out. In 20 years, we have not had one project that did that. We've had studies, we've had intent, but in 20 years, not one project has been completed by this board. I would suggest that the long arm, which y'all are, of the city council and the city government, is to rule by loopholes and attorneys' suggestions that probably generationally won't be here to see the outcome. We're going to be here for decades. And learning as we go is not a responsible way of doing this. Your funding, your staffing as far as the approval of this board is directly mandated by city council. I would challenge you to show me, and I would very intently listen, if you can show me one action that the city council brought to the CCASRD in the last 5 years that there was opposition to, and that this board rejected that. Anything that the city council brought to you and placed on the agenda that this board rejected wholeheartedly as a group. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Betty Cranford.
Betty Cranford, District 1. They've already covered what I was going to say, so I'm just going to talk to y'all from the front. What I want y'all to do is take into consideration these water wells that's going to be affected. It's for the survival of those people. That's the only water that they have. you're taking that away from them. The river is already like 860% salinity now, on an average. You have so much TDS that it's ridiculous that you're gonna have to use more fresh water to treat that water to get that TDS down. So I ask you to take the survival, the water for survival into account. I also realize y'all are all in a hard place because you're all city employees. Therefore, it's gonna be extremely difficult for y'all to get objective opinion when you vote. The other thing I wanted to let you know is they touched on it, but when the ASR was created, I bet you none of y'all know what it was created for. The whole purpose and intent of the ASR was to get water to the island. You didn't have enough pressure to push the water to the island. So y'all had a pipeline going out there, and you were supposed to fill these big old tanks out there in the event of emergency, a fire or whatever. The other thing I have to say, and the last final, is that our city manager has said that he would make the people whole again when their wells are compromised. My question to you is, just exactly to what extent does he expect to do that? Is he gonna run water hoses from the pipeline over to these people's houses? You can't lay pipe and infrastructure in a day. It's absolutely impossible. So those are things that I want y'all to take into consideration and think really hard about, because y'all will be the board that is responsible for that decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Kirkland?
Chris Kirkland, Joyce County. I think what y'all doing is a conflict of interest. You live outside the city limits. Y'all taking the resources y'all have and wasting them. Now y'all are trying to tap into our resources. We have no more water resources to go to. What we have is what we have. There's no way for the city to give us any more water if they drain our wells dry. That's a very conflict of interest. And my point was the city being owning the property and y'all managing the property because y'all all work for the city. I think y'all should think long and hard before y'all make this decision what y'all are gonna do. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesselyn Dixon?
Howdy, my name is Jesselyn Dixon. I live out in Windsor, in Nueces County. So I kind of have some questions more on Cradle Pond Road, maybe answer next meeting. Because if this does go through on the annex land, and I did ask Esteban over here about this question, he said that the only way to add people on your board is if you annex the land to be able to add more seats, right? Well, in that provision, it says that only people who live within that annex land would be able to come on to the board or be elected onto the board. My question is, nobody lives on that land. That is city-owned land. So who is going to fill those seats on your board? Right? Maybe think about a radius to add residents on your board. I know the city said to add 2 more people from the Calallen area. So another question is, do they have to live within the city limits to be on your board? Or are you going to have residents that are in that area on your board? And they didn't get a statement about seeing a lot of Corpus Christi water shirts. So I mean, I don't know if y'all really take into consideration us out there. Another statement that was said was that the casing only goes down to 500 feet. No water drilling lower than that. But that's gonna pull water from people's wells that are 500 or deeper. A lot of our farm and ranchers out in that area, their wells are deeper than a typical residential well. But have y'all done any studies to see how many people y'all would actually affect the casing only being at 500 feet? I mean, that's happening in other aquifers. Just questions to ponder over. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Rachel Caballero.
We're Rachel Gaballo, Corpus Christi. A lot of these people are new here. I am not. This is kind of a joke that you guys are adding an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people to make you guys look more official. This is an absolute conflict of interest. An absolute conflict of interest. I am not surprised by this because of the tyrannical management we've been under for the last 6 years. It does not surprise me that we're sitting in this situation right now where we have 5 city staffers claiming to have the best interests of this community. Well, we know for a fact, I know for a fact, that in the last 5 years, all of you, the majority of you here, actually have not had the best interest of this community at heart. This is a complete joke. You guys should not. I am trying to get a space to have a meeting for a nonprofit organization for 3 years. And look at the red carpet you guys have been presented here on the 6th floor at City Hall, when I've been told numerous times that they don't provide meeting space for outside organizations. But yet here you all are on the agenda today. Let's continue to use taxpayer-funded legal counsel that's the city of Corpus Christi. How is that not a conflict of interest, gentlemen? You're using taxpayer funds, taxpayer-paid employees against taxpayers. This annexation is theft, it's tyranny, and you all know it. You guys, the water department has put us in this position, along with the city manager, and we're not tolerating it anymore. It is to your best interest to vote against this, or we're gonna figure out a way how to dismantle this fake organization. And it is a conflict to serve on multiple boards, Esteban. So that's coming next too. Do the right thing here. You're all being watched.
Okay, that concludes our public comment period. Our next item on the agenda is the review and approval of the October 15th meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Next item is a motion to continue utilizing the Corpus Christi City Attorney's Office as legal counsel for the district. Presentation and discussion group.
For the presentation, is to continue to utilize the city of Corpus Christi's legal services to assist the district in any and all evaluation of rules and any addition and advice on council for items that come to the board. With that, I suggest that the board approves the motion in front of us.
Motion to continue utilizing City of Corpus Christi's City Attorney's Office as legal counsel for the district.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, next item is discussion of possible action regarding the petition submitted by the city of Corpus Christi to include city-owned properties into the district under Texas Water Code, including section 36.321 and section 36.323. To the applicant has a presentation for the board.
All right, good afternoon, Reverend Hazel, Director of Water Supply Management.
lots totaling 264 acres. If you look at the map, the property on the east is made up of 14 lots totaling 16 acres, and it's adjacent to County Road 73, also runs along the Nueces River. And then the western property, which has 4 lots totaling 241 acres, is located near FM 666 and Northwest Boulevard. So this is a zoomed in shot of the eastern property, and also shows the well sites. So again, the eastern property is located along County Road 73 along the river. So we do have 8 wells on the properties. All wells are installed and active, producing up to 10 million gallons per day. If we can go to the next slide. So our western property, again, is located near FM 666 and Northwest Boulevard. It has 3 wells currently installed on these properties, and the future plan is to put up to 12 wells, producing up to 17 million gallons per day. So the city understands the district is charged with conserving, preserving, protecting, recharging, preventing waste of groundwater and the groundwater reservoir, in addition to controlling subsidence. And the city endorses the district's mission, which is why this petition was put out, and we're asking for inclusion into the district. So some of the advantages of including these properties into the facility management. So again, the city is requesting approval of the petition to include the rural properties noted into the district. And I stand by for any questions.
I have one. I'm not sure if this was you, Brett, or for Steve. If we don't do this, what is the operations cost?
So if the board does not accept the petition from the city of Corpus Christi to include the 100% owned property, not an annexation, but an inclusion from the petitioner, then the land would stay outside the district. And currently, as heard from comment earlier, there is a petition to the TCEQ, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, to establish a new groundwater conservation district, and therefore that property.
That doesn't exist.
There's a petition to the TCEQ.
That doesn't exist. What would govern what we're doing?
Right now, what is governing what the city of Corpus Christi is doing on these 2 crossroads of the properties is right now it's under the rule of capture. So there isn't a governing body per se that governs the diversion or the pumpage out of those parcels of land. So it's under the
Basically, there
rule of
are no
capture.
controls. It's whatever you can call it.
There is a so with the pumpage from the well field, the city of Corpus Christi is utilizing the bend banks of the Nueces River currently to convey that water down. There are regulations pursuant to that permit through the TCEQ for the use of that water down the bend banks to convey to the OC water treatment plant for diversion. So there is regulation on that side for conveying that groundwater. But if you're referring to just the pumpage and use of the groundwater currently where it exists, it's the rule of capture.
Okay, so I know that, and some of these folks here have spoken on it, or are involved with it. There's an effort to create a groundwater control conservation district in Nueces County. What is the soonest that a conservation district could impose any kind of control over what we're doing?
The petition is with TCEQ currently. I can't give you a time frame on when, because the district isn't a part of that petition, and knowing the, where within the TCEQ authorization, but, what would happen, there would be limited, if the TCEQ would approve the petition, then the petitioners would have, limited jurisdiction over that area. They would have time to establish, the proper, authorities under the rules and conditions under chapter 36 of the Texas Water Code. And, then they would still need to go out for an election within that boundaries of that district for final approval and then set forth therefore.
Okay, but they wouldn't have regulatory authority until after that.
They would have limited regulatory in the interim timeframe, so yes, they would have regulatory, authority if their petition is granted by the TCEQ.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna make one more comment, let some of my colleagues speak. So, speaking for myself, and I think that everybody on this will feel the same way, we want to be good custodians of the resource, we want to be good neighbors, we want to have, some controls, in place of what we're doing. I think we've actually imposed certain controls with our design, with our operations, all the rules. In addition, what TCEQ imposes to the banks. So, what I'd like to see, if we do this, I would like to see you come back with some proposed controls that would help, address some concerns that we've been hearing.
So if I may on that part, so I know the CCW team has already installed monitoring wells at both the eastern well field and the western well field to help monitor some of the water levels in the area. In addition to, taking samples to check the water quality. They've also done some outreach to some of the property owners who have wells on their properties. And I would encourage anyone here today, if they have wells on their property and haven't made contact with CCW, do so that we can send someone out to the property and inspect the well. We can check water levels. We can establish future quality testing so that we can gauge if our wells are having any impact on neighbors. In addition, we also have monitoring stations along the Nueces River so that we can continue to monitor the TDS, both upstream and downstream of our well field, so that we can better understand what's happening, and then we can utilize our wells appropriately to reduce the impact, both on the wells and surrounding, both on the river, and if there's any impact to the surrounding neighbors. So I would say we're currently doing some of that, I believe. We want to continue doing so. So hopefully that provides some.
That's exactly the kind of thing that I was thinking about. I think I would feel better, and I think a lot of the public would feel better if some of this was codified into certain rules on how we will conduct ourselves with the construction and operation of these wells.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Steve. So to clarify today's agenda item, this is just the consideration of the petition for inclusion in the district. This doesn't relate to the permitting consideration of production on the property yet.
That's correct.
So that'll come at a future date, a future meeting of this district.
That's correct.
Was there any more questions? We can get this into executive session. Okay. We will be taking this item to executive session, so pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct Rule 1.05 to consult with attorneys concerning legal issues related to rules and regulations of the state of Texas, TCEQ, TWDB, and other regulatory entities and legal rights, property rights, and other legal matters related to the petition submitted to the Corpus Christi Aquifer Storage and Recovery Conservation District, to include city-owned properties in the district under Texas Water Code Section 46.321, including Article XVI, Section 59 of the Texas Constitution, Texas Special District Local Laws Code Chapter 8811, and Texas Water Code Chapter 36. So the board will go into executive session and will return shortly.
Yeah. They were having meetings earlier. They were having meetings earlier. They wouldn't even let me in the city manager office earlier. I was trying to ask some questions, and the lady kept ducking down behind her desk. Isn't this open to the public? Like, I'm so confused. I'm so confused what our tax dollars are paying for.
At least you put a face to that. Sit down.
Oh.
Yeah. I work for myself. I'm an independent journalist.
Okay.
I'm following a story on the city, the tyranny of the city, so just here to see what's going on. I'm not even from here, so I just...
Do you write stories?
I edit. I mean, I video record everything, so everything I have to do is pretty much on here. So I just edit it and put it out.
Well, if that's the case, if you're independent, I can give you the stories so you can have the people's side as well, if you want.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
This lady right here is gonna give us the inside scoop of what's going on over here. I can come to you. It's not a problem. So what they got going on here in Corpus Christi, it sounds like they're trying to take your guys' water.
Well, it's not Corpus, it's rural Nueces County.
Really?
They're taking water from. So we have no say in what happens.
This is Trey.
Okay.
And
I'm Bubba.
Nice
to meet you.
So what happened is desal was being considered in Corpus, and once it started to fill, they were looking for the low-lying fruit. Decided that they would try to take all the groundwater out in out in rural Nueces County to make up for the deficit that they have for the desal.
Oh, so they're desalinating the water out here.
They're not.
They're not?
So the city council voted against it.
Wow.
So once that project died, they said, well, we'll just go out in the rural Nueces County and take all their water.
Yeah, because why would they desalinate that water? There's no money in that, is there?
No.
Well, that's kind of crazy. So they're using your guys' water aquifers to basically freshen up their water pretty much.
To provide supply for the city.
Wow, that's crazy. And also for Padre Island as well?
Well, all the city customers. So the city is actually the regional water supplier for 7 different counties around here and about 500,000 people.
Okay.
So it's not only supply for Corpus, but for Sinton and Beeville and Ingleside.
So what would it? So if they voted to take your guys' aquifers, what would that would just take away from your water, and you'd have to start paying the city?
Well, no. So I mean, it's kind of ironic because we had a town hall meeting last week, and they're like, "Well, you know, if your water wells go dry, we'll just give you water." Well, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
There's no infrastructure.
You're taking from your water.
You're taking our water, bringing it
give
down,
it back.
but you can't give it back if something happens.
Wow, that doesn't make any sense.
Not a bit.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you guys are having to go through that. I'm not even from here. I'm all the way from Kansas, so I heard I heard some tyranny was going on, and I came to see what was going on. So
more than anything, it has to do with self-regulation. So this ASRCD board was originally set up to be with Aquifer Storage and Recovery District, and what that means is that they would take any excess water that we had from rains or from our reservoirs, and they'd actually pump it down beneath the ground. That way, whenever they needed it, they could extract it back out. This was created in 2005. They've never done anything, never had any conservation district. They did a feasibility study on the ASR back in 2016 through 19, but other than that, there hasn't been anything done with it. So they don't even have water stored.
Wow. So their negligence is costing you guys. That's insane. That is insane, and this is what our tax dollars pay for.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And again, we have no say in it.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to discuss it behind closed doors, which I'm pretty sure that's campaigning, isn't it? That's not even. I've never heard of that ever. The public's supposed to be involved in this whole entire process. I'm gonna come around this way. Get in front of their camera. How about that? You got anything to comment on the matter? Anything else?
Just concerned about the water.
Just concerned about the water?
We were told they were going to, further on what Trey was saying, they would put in an interconnect if our wells went dry. There's no city infrastructure. The city does not understand how well water works.
Right.
They think we're like a community getting a well, goes to power, goes out to everyone's houses. Not every house having a well independently. We're all pay for our own infrastructure and responsible for it.
So you think it's possible if this bill doesn't pass today, they're going to try to start taxing the water and start metering the water you guys are pumping, or what?
No, because what they're doing only affects the property they own. Because they want to annex it into the ASR district that the city has that was created by the legislature. It's supposed to be a standalone government entity, but if you see today, everyone here is CCW, City of Corpus employees. Everyone on the board using Corpus Christi City Hall, using all city resources. It's
City attorney.
City attorney.
I heard that. That's a conflict of interest in itself.
Yes, and so...
It's telling me if I get charged criminally and I get a public defender, my public defender is going to be facing a public defender. They don't make no sense to me.
So the city council says we want to petition to put this property in this district so that they could have control. We even said so in your meeting. We want control. So the city petitioned essentially the city. So they're going to go back there, rubber stamp it, and come back and say we now have it. Whereas the city has sole control with the pumping to control how much it pumps, the amount, the volume, everything else right now.
There's no people involved. The public is not involved.
Not at all.
So they might as well just lock their doors.
That is correct. And the talk they had about more board members, city council says we want 2 more board members from citizens, non-employees, to be on the board. So you go from 5 to 7, add 2 people that don't work for the city. How is that going to make a difference to the board? You still have the majority on the city.
They're already outnumbered already.
Well, their decisions made before they got here.
Yeah.
You know, go along with what the city wants, or I don't know, maybe your job's in jeopardy.
Okay, well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that input, man. Really do. Well, hopefully they make the right decision here today, you know. It's not your guys' problem that the city's water is drying up, you know.
And the water amounts that they were talking about there, 2 well fields, it's 28 million gallons a day. Currently, the city's using 109 million gallons a day, so these 2 properties are going to provide roughly 1/4 of all city water on 265 acres, to put it in perspective.
And then what are they going to do when those dry up?
They'll go out and find the next species.
They're going to start finally desalinating the ocean?
Maybe. I mean, they turned it down. They had a project permitted, ready to go. They turned that one down.
Why? Well, I mean, I also heard that they're using our tax dollars, over budgeting our tax dollars on certain things too. That's just what I heard. I haven't got no confirmation, but I came in here to see what the mayor has been doing. That's for sure.
Don't live out of the city, so
yeah.
City politics came out to me. So now here we are.
Here you are. Well, thank you for coming out and speaking up for yourselves.
Appreciate you, Doctor.
Yeah, no problem. And when this is all over, if you want a link to my page so you can see where you're going to be at, I'll give it to you.
What's your page?
I'm not going to disclose it right now because of the other cameras. I don't want to compromise the integrity of the story, but afterwards, when this is shut down, absolutely, I'll give it to you. Well, you heard that, folks. The city of Corpus Christi is trying to tap into the rural water preserves, and they're not having it. And I wouldn't either. You know, that's you know, private water supply. People drill on their land for a reason.
Good afternoon. The district is having an executive session. Please note at 3:34. No votes or any action taken during the executive session. And we'll be going back to our agenda. Item number 5.
listed.
I'll second the motion. I do have a question for the general manager.
Yes, sir.
So following the previous question regarding the effect of today's petition, this is again not include production permits or regulations on production. So the next step for the applicant would be that part of the process. Is that correct?
That's correct. So the next part of the process would be, if the board approves the motion, for the applicant, the city of Corpus Christi, to submit all permits necessary for the petition.
The actual action for the board would need to be whether to grant the petition to have the city on it, whether or not.
So does he need to amend his motion?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't read it right. Okay, so let me again, just, and I don't need to read it out, I can do this, just motion to add the city-owned lands, as listed on the agenda in the petition to the district.
Second.
You need a motion whether to grant or deny the petition of the city to add the city.
To grant the petition, motion to grant the petition to add city-owned lands to the district.
Okay, second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Item is approved. Moving on to our next item on the agenda is, number 7, discussion of the Evangeline updates.
So just to provide an update to the Evangeline project that the city of Corpus Christi has informed the district about. Again, this is a project that the city of Corpus Christi is undertaking for production of wells in the Evangeline aquifer. That district is working with the city of Corpus Christi, taking on the necessary permits and acquisition of said property. And to my knowledge at this time, the applicant or the city of Corpus Christi is working through that process, finishing negotiations with that particular entity for the production of approximately 24 MGD water, groundwater, well field in the Evangeline area of San Francisco County.
As a neighboring district, we have to do in coordination with Santa Patricia.
Coordination, I work with Lonnie Stewart, who's the manager of the San Francisco Groundwater Conservation District, just to be kept up to speed with any questions that we have with pertaining to the CCA, so the district. At this time, Lonnie hasn't reached out or had any additional questions to the district.
Okay, moving on to item number 8.
Item number 8, staff announcements and updates. Just wanted to update the board of update on the request to the groundwater management area 16 to update the desired future conditions to include the city of Corpus Christi's wells. We met with the GMA 16 at their board meeting where the new DFCs, including the well field, the city of Corpus Christi's well field, was accepted. And currently the GMA 16 is working with their hydrologist and Terra to review the modeling necessary. So the next steps under that process would be to then proceed with the modeling, the new modeling with the GMA 16. Those TFCs would be sent back for adoption to each of the districts, and not just the CCA's RCD district, but other districts in GMA 16 for approval. There's a full permitting process and notification. It's going to take approximately, we're at the beginning of the cycle. So through 2026, you'll see a lot of coordination and public meetings regarding the adoption of the DOCs, and that will move to submitting the application or the new DOCs to the Water Development Board at the end of 2026, to TWEB, and then that would be approval in the 2027 year. So 2027 we would finish the process. So we're at the beginning of the outline of the DFC process with GIS.
Any questions? All right, our final item, adjournment, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Lose the meeting, thank you.
Alright, all American Press peeps, we're going to go ahead and end the video right here. I'm going to let you guys decide what you think about this. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. You know, were the citizens right? Was the city right? And let me know. I'm going to try to remain objective. I did make some comments while interviewing some of the citizens, but hey, you know, I can feel the way I feel about it. But please let me know what you guys think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.